Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal the Normal, another special spooky month episode. And yes, I do have our mascot, Snickers, as always, here to help us pick some answers. But, folks, you may ask what special we're doing tonight. Well,
you're not going to
you all
kill the
know.
rabbit, are you? And for the sake of being spooky?
No, we do not harm the mascot. The mascot is sacred. You are a sacred bunny.
Okay, good.
You have the reincarnated soul of Jesus.
This is a crazy take, but the Macky Rat Podcast is against animal cruelty.
Surprisingly.
If you can believe that.
But, folks, the special bracket we're doing tonight is the revered, sacred conspiracy bracket that everybody in this podcast loves so much. We've done it so many times now, but I have a feeling tonight's is going to be the most interesting take on it we might have ever had. Because, folks, joining me tonight, making his diabolical return to the world of brackets and Paranormal Normal, is Mr.X from the Macky Rat Podcast. Welcome back, Mr.X.
Well, thanks for having me. Caleb couldn't join us because I murdered him for the sake of being spooky.
Well, you do what you got to do for ratings, buddy.
Exactly. Well, didn't help, but yeah.
All right. Well, the sacred mascot has returned.
Oh, look at that. It jumped. Just like rabbits are known to do. Hop.
Jesus.
All right. Well, that's good. We you don't want to start with some warm-up banner?
Well, what you guys been up to in your podcast lately?
Well, I mean, that's not very interesting, but we just talk about whatever comes to mind like usual. But what's going on since the last time I was on the show? You sound like you're ill. Are you okay?
I actually just got over a bout of bronchitis. Got kids in school though, so that's always a possibility of coming back.
Yeah, you're constantly sick with children.
Constantly, but not much been up. We will be taking a hiatus in about a month time because of the birth of my third child.
Oh,
so there's that. That's new. I guess that's news in a way, but
that's big news. Why do you need to take a hiatus though?
Apparently, you've never raised a newborn.
I've raised a newborn. Absolutely, I'm a fellow child-bearing man. If that makes sense.
Well, I ain't gonna leave my wife to do it all while I'm podcasting, so I'm taking some time off. I got plenty of backup episodes ready to release still for the podcast world of it all. But
all right.
I just don't. I need to take a few months off lives. But let's get started here because I'm dying to hear what you think of some of these.
Sure. I really am. I'm a renowned conspiracy expert and theorist, and the Macky Rat Podcast we've created a few conspiracies ourselves. None are on this list. None on this list. Before we start,
I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I have a conspiracy theorist mind. But before we start, I did say I was sad to see that Diddy Freakoff's conspiracies were absent from this list.
I made this list before Diddy was even a news thing, so
it's okay.
His brethren's on it though, so we'll get to that.
All
but the first matchup is Montauk Project versus Denver Airport.
Yeah, this is quite the matchup because a lot of these conspiracy things, especially with the Montauk Project one, is like, I think I didn't do any research because I have committed all these conspiracies to my head, But the Montauk one the Montauk Project is like they were dealing with like psychic soldier stuff, and they like birthed a otherworldly creature, like in the base, and it ran awry and stuff, right? And it's like some of these are like a testimony to how like people believe, it's like one of these things where it's like people will believe anything. They're like, yeah, of course. You're gonna tell me that there wasn't a otherworldly being birthed through psychics in a military base? Like, what are you, nuts? And it's like, yeah, okay. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that all of these conspiracies on this list are true, first of all. And let me see here. Hold on one second. And I like that stuff. I like psychic stuff. So I'm a psychic myself. I've talked about this on the podcast. Like I do astral projection, and I have other like it's like not like major psychic stuff, but no one can lie to me. Okay, so I can always tell stuff like that. So anyways, I'm going besides the point, but it's kind of like one of these things where it's like you're like, this is a little crazy. But then you have the Denver airport, which is their runway are laid out like a swastika.
Yes.
which is great, and they have like these paintings, they have like these strange paintings and stuff like that, and that are like, I guess like, I don't know, people claim them, they're like satanic.
Yeah.
And they have like I mean the it's definitely a groovy painting, but it's like, if I had to be like, show me the otherworldly being that, at the end tore through reality and went back to its dimension, or let's see a picture of the Denver airport and see if their, runway is laid out like a swastika, which is great. It's such a great symbol to make things too, like there's all these like, anyways. So I'm going to say that I saw a picture, and I think it's been like added to now, where it doesn't resemble swastikas heavily anymore.
Most likely, yeah. I have to assume once that started getting out there, they would have definitely changed it around.
That's such a cop out,
I mean, plus, if you didn't know, the Denver airport is also built on a Native American burial ground.
It's built on a Native American burial ground too. Yeah, so that's like, whatever. I guess that adds to stuff, but there's tons of stuff. Everything's built on a Native American fucking.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much technically, since the United States is basically a big burial ground for Native Americans. But
oh, come on. Oh yeah. We just can't leave every single, anywhere you step in America, you're stepping on a Native American burial ground. I agree with that. And I agree with one time I saw a picture from, the air, and it was their airport schematic was kind of in a swastika shape. So I'm going to give this one to now keep in mind, they're both true. But if I had to choose a otherworldly being over a swastika, and this has nothing to do with racism or anything like that or whatever, but I'm going to choose the swastika.
brave choice and brave way of phrasing that on a live podcast. But yeah, we'll go with it. Denver Airport's a popular choice, but it usually takes that match. But we'll see how well it fares.
People get taken from there too. So there's something like that too. Like they also take people.
Oh, it's supposed to be an Illuminati like secret base and everything.
Yeah, it's a secret base. That's right. I forgot about that. It's also in the case
of reptilians and all those other good stuff.
Yes, reptilians are always going to be underground at an underground base. They have to be.
Well, they got sensitive skin, but
they're underground shape-shifting reptilians that can easily exist, but they prefer underground. Anyways, yeah, you're right. Those are two elements that I left out. I get fixated on the swastika. I don't know why. Anyways,
I honestly forgot about that part of it. That part of it is so minute to me. Like that, it's just everything else is so much larger than life. But
yeah, okay, maybe.
I mean, but
yeah, go on.
Let's see who's going to face it in round two.
Okay.
Because you have Malaysia MH370 flight going against Skinwalker Ranch.
Like, which one's the best? No, so sorry. I started. You know what? I got fixated on the damn swastika. Am I choosing which is the better conspiracy or the truer conspiracy?
Your reasoning can be whatever you need to be. I do not tell people how to make choices because that would make the bracket less fun.
So I think the Malaysia flight one recently, they finally found the wreckage or something, right?
Did they? Because that'd be news to me, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm not 100% certain. I thought I saw something like that recently. I didn't read into it. The Malaysia flight one is something that's like very interesting, but
it has not been found. A quick Google search says it has not been found according to AI.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I trust the AI. They're gonna tell me. But the Malaysia flight one was they had to is this one of the ones where they had to get rid of it because people who had the cure for cancer were on it or something like that?
I can't say I quite heard something like that. I mean I never really knew it as a conspiracy. I always thought it was just a terrorist attack.
Well, it went missing. So the thing is, it went missing in the air, and then you know, there's like natural trajectories. These things can fall in debris patterns, and you know, the jet stream and all of that stuff, but not really much. I think they did recover some pieces of it, but for the most part, it has been displaced and not found to this day. And you wouldn't. So like, I'm wondering. So it's like Air Malaysia, right?
Yeah, Air Malaysia.
So it's like, are their pilots Malaysian?
I would say most likely, or possibly from other Asian
like
countries
British
around
or something.
Malaysia.
Yeah, Asian. Yeah, so like Asian people like aren't, you know, I mean I'm not gonna say like, you know, other conspiracy theories that aren't on the list. Like, you know, anyways. You know, never mind about that. So they couldn't find it, and that's pretty cool. If I go on and whenever I go on a plane, I always think about this damn Flight Malaysia stuff. So it's like, you know, I don't like to fly as it is. So, anyways, I think another piece of the puzzle was there was like several high value people on this flight when it went missing, and I'll have to look into it again. I should have done more research, but anyways, it's a plane that went missing. You know, who cares, right?
Well, besides the families of those on it, I'm sure. But
yeah, right. If there in fact even was any, we don't know.
We don't.
Personally,
we truly don't.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what makes it a good conspiracy. We don't know anything, you know. Like reality is like we really don't know until we've gone and visited ourselves. We don't know what's actual reality. And then on top of that, you can create like you can be crazy. So all of this might just be made up in your head right now, Jeremy.
Well, that actually might tie into one of the other theories that's on this list, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Okay, what's the other one? I forgot. I was fixated on the swastikas again.
It's MH370 versus Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah, I love Skinwalker. That's another Indian stuff. Skinwalker Ranch is not the ranch where Michael Jackson lived. Did you know that?
Yes, that would be Neverland Ranch.
That's Neverland Ranch. Exactly. So Skinwalker Ranch is one of these things where everything happened to it. They have ghosts. They have Native American shape-shifting, you know, shadow people. They have giant spirit animals. They have UFO cow mutilation, military stuff. It really has everything, and it's been around for a long time. The Skinwalker Ranch. First time I heard about it was they talked about it on Art Bell, even, you know. So it's like one of these tried and true conspiracies that we love. And before early days of YouTube, and they've got rid of it since then, but before we'd get our conspiracies from YouTube, before that we'd get them from Art Bell's and Coast to Coast, and later George Norrie. So shout out to them. And
yes,
then, you know,
shout out to Art Bell for sure.
Art Bell, who had a conspiracy theory around himself, even.
Yep. And technically one of the first paranormal podcasters before podcast was even a thing. So
absolutely. That's who podcasting is made for. Fucking weirdos who believe anything anyone tells them. But the Skinwalker Ranch one is very cool, and I do believe in that stuff. I was in Joshua Tree a few weeks ago, and like, it's probably just my eyes playing tricks on me, but I saw one of those like shadow like creature things, and I ran out after it, and I couldn't find it. Eventually you're just running in the dark, and you're like, I hope I don't get lost and or killed by this thing. But then on the way back, I saw a tarantula. And then in the morning, I saw a desert fox. So maybe it was the skinwalker creature rewarding my bravery as a pale face. Anyways, maybe. I'm going to go with, I guess I like Skinwalker Ranch more. So let's go with Skinwalker Ranch.
All right.
Though plain missing is more, anyways, it's neither here nor there.
Well, oh my God, this next matchup I cannot wait to see what you do with. But it's going to be Flat Earth versus reptilians.
Absolutely. I mean, what's there to argue about? If you know anything about perspective, when someone shows you a picture of Earth from space, it's a 2D image, right? It's not 3D. Yep. You don't reach into the picture and you grab and you hold a sphere in your hand, right?
No, sir.
Exactly. So that image itself is technically flat and proves nothing. And all this other science stuff. So shout out to the flat earthers, okay? Anyone who's like, oh, you flat earther, this and that. I am not a flat earther. I do believe that the world is spherical, okay? But that's just something I choose to believe. Now, when people are like, you dumbasses, here's why the flat earth couldn't be real. This is science. And then they talk about science. These are things that are told to us by people that we believe are going to tell us the truth, right? They're scientists. They have no reason to lie to us. They have no reason to, it's like, you weren't the mathematician that came or this and that. You're just some jerk who was like, I hate flat earthers and I want to prove them wrong, right?
Exactly.
So the Chinese believe that a turtle, the world is flat and flying on a giant turtle throughout space.
Yeah, well, that's also similar to the Native American belief, but
yeah, exactly.
Synchronicity there, folks, because that ain't no coincidence by no means. But
exactly, it's because so just think about that. It literally, if you talk to any Chinese person right now, they're gonna tell you that that's what they believe, and I dare these people who are all trashing Kyrie Irving and stuff like that, and the flat earthers, and be like, screw you, flat earther. I'd like to see them take their liberal stances and their science liberal based stances and tell a Chinese person that they're wrong about the world floating around on a turtle's back. Exactly. So there's no proof. You don't know. You're not a scientist. You're just some idiot who hates flat earthers, and you Google search like how are flat earthers wrong, and you did like a pinhole thing, like, oh, you do a pinhole and this and that at the horizon. It's like, man, shut up. You didn't come up with this scientific test yourself. I hate these people, these know-it-alls. Anyways, and reptilian shapeshifters. Who's that? Is that Ike? David Ike? That's David Ike, right?
That's a bit. Well, I mean, me and a co-host of mine used to always like to say it was Hillary Clinton, but I mean, reptilians have been around for millennia.
Oh yeah. So like, absolutely. Yes, the idea of the reptilian has been portrayed through lots of different cultures, and Latin American cultures, I think, have like reptilian like cave carvings and paintings and stuff like that. Yes, and I mean, like it does kind of make sense in a way. I hate to use science because I am no fan of science. I hate science. And but like if there was like some sort of like split off between evolution, because a lot of the lobefin fish, they came out and a lot of things became reptiles and stuff, right? That's like some of the earliest creatures, and dinosaurs and etc. They're like even though you say dinosaurs are closer to avian and bird creatures now, but like a lot of stuff evolved into like small mammals and in reptiles and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So along the natural course of evolution, why couldn't a man like lizard person have evolved? And don't try to explain this away with science now. Okay, I'm sick of that. But and then I think David Icke kind of brought it in. I think he was one of the people who helped push up this reptilian stuff and the reptilian shapeshifter stuff like that. And then of course, yeah, Hillary Clinton, who is a reptilian shapeshifter. Why do you say? I don't get that one actually. Why do you say that?
Oh, my former co-host Scott of Global Strangeness used to. He is a thing against liberals.
Oh, okay. And he knows that the elite are reptilian shapeshifters, which is across the board. That is not something shared just by the ruling oligarchy that we have truncated into this two-party system. They're all reptilians. George W. Bush is as much of a reptilian as
Oh, I don't doubt that.
absolutely 110%. So, I mean, if you were going to say, I'm a regular human, not as tough as a reptilian, presumably, if they're anything like an actual reptile, or anything like reptile from Mortal Kombat, if someone was like, you need to do what I'm telling you, and then they pulled their face off and they have a reptilian face and they spit, which is also homage to reptilian shapeshifters, by the way. And they spit acid in my face melted off. Yeah, I'm going to do what they say. These people are going to be the ruling elite, right? It makes sense.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is basically, yeah, Hillary Clinton's a reptilian shapeshifter. So we're going to go with reptilian shapeshifters.
Oakley dokley. And you got to battle the M's to see who they're going to face in the next round, however. And that's going to be between MK Ultra and the Men in Black.
These are both. So, anyways, they're all of, like I said, all of these conspiracies are true.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, MK Ultra, I think, is actually one of the most kind of accepted as true conspiracy theories. Because I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, we know that brainwashing occurs, and we know that the further you can remove yourself from crime and implicating yourself with crime, the better. So it only makes sense that and MK Ultra is like came like in like the 60s, right? It was a product of like the 60s and the CIA and
Yeah.
the army and all that stuff. And Wavy Gravy. So Wavy Gravy, and this is not a joke. Don't laugh, Jeremy.
Oh,
okay.
I'm laughing at the fact that you said Wavy Gravy. Mm-hmm. I don't think MK Ultra was a joke at all.
Absolutely, but no, Wavy Gravy Wavy Gravy, who cool hippie guy who is connected, who was working out of the facility that treated Charlie Manson, also a product of MK Ultra. He was I guess, psychologist at this facility, and he may have been, hey, I'm Wavy Gravy, I'm fun, hippie clown guy, this and that, giving people pot, which is a gateway drug, mind you, Schedule 5 narcotic by Ronald Reagan, rightfully so.
Yep.
And you're feeling good, you're feeling fine, you're doing this, you're having hippie based orgies. It's cool. And you're like, what else can I trust this guy? He's built your trust, and then he slips you to acid. You go into the MK Ultra program, and you end up like insane Charles Manson, and spreading and doing these type of things yourself, right? He was doing MK Ultra type activity yourself, but it's like uh all that stuff is true, and all of these people who have been all of these people are kind of like, and we don't know how many people have been influenced by it and are part of the program, and part of the program to this day. MK Ultra may have been disbanded, but there's other actors in this, and on top of that, MK Ultra, we got that term because that is actually as far as I know, now keep in mind I got all my conspiracy from, but that was something that was. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean that's where exactly what it is. I mean,
oh, I thought your wife was yelling at you, but it was something else.
No, probably my daughter's TV, but
I saw that. Dang it! I was hoping that you were getting chewed out by your wife. That would have been great.
It happens enough, trust me.
I believe you. Tell me about it. Yeah, men's rights. Anyways, so basically, I believe that was a term that we got from an actual declassified document, right? MK Ultra.
Yeah, it was. It came from a classified document, I believe. I believe most of the documents are, or if not all of them, are declassified now, and blacked out to hell probably. But
yeah, exactly. They're redacted, but it was an actual like scientific experiment done on unwitting Americans, and other stuff too, and also drugging prostitutes. One of my favorite elements and under discussed is drugging Johns to control them. The hookers would dose the Johns with acid, and they try to use the effects of like persuasion and implanted thoughts and etc. on them and stuff, and they couldn't go anything because they'd be like, man, this hooker dosed me. Try telling your boss that at work in the 60s. Maybe it's more.
Yeah. I mean, you kidding, baby? You wanted the girlfriend experience all night. You didn't just want 1 hour.
Exactly. They tell, and then you'd wake up in the morning, you'd be like, oh my God, what happened? And they'd be like, you were amazing. And then you're not going to question that. You're going to be like, yeah, I guess I was. Good call. I am pretty good. I always thought, being of average to below average size and terrible in bed, that I would not hear that. But you said that, so I'm going to go along with it. And the next thing, what's happening? You're shooting John Lennon, right? So think about that.
Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. The John Lennonist, one of the most evil people in history, John Lennon. Look that up, America. Paranormal fans. And then there's the Men in Black. Now, Men in Black there's more credence to it, right? Because there's all this stuff that's used to cover it up. Mainly a schmaltzy action comedy starring famous assault artist Will Smith in a movie called Men in Black. So Hollywood will do that. Hollywood exists to take your mind off things in every which way, including Men in Black, which had already started to garner a lot of now. Okay, going back to that before we even get there, every morning, my wife's Asian, right? And I've talked about her on the podcast before. She's quite volatile towards me. And in the morning, I have these black sunglasses that I put on. They're not as fun as these. And I put them on, and then I tell her, I go, you know the difference between me and you? And I put on my sunglasses, and I go, I make this look good. And then she goes, shut up! Anyways, it's just a line from Men in Black, which is actually a really good movie, and it's also a ripoff of there's this anime movie by this anime director named Kawajiri, who's amazing. He did Ninja Scroll, but he also does this movie called Wicked City, which is basically Men in Black. And Men in Black rips off this movie. Mark my words, it's the exact same movie if you watch it. It's about Men in Black. It's about an unlikely partnership between two people who wear suits and ties. He has a gun that when he shoots it, it goes poof, and it shoots so strong it like slams him back. It shoots him back, just like the cricket in Men in Black. They hunt monsters. It's just like a rated R version of that, but it's basically the same movie. And this is my own original conspiracy theory. But watch Wicked City too. It's amazing. It's an amazing anime movie. But if you like that stuff, I mean, if you don't, it's a good cinema.
I'll have to check it out. Anime. I actually been getting into anime a little bit in the last 6 months or so.
Well, this is good. This is good. You can really see the parallels between Men in Black, and it was a known movie. It was known at that time, as known in the 90s. You can't say that Hollywood writers don't do stuff like this. But anyways, the Men in Black, do they work for the government? Do they work out of Area 51? Are they aliens themselves here, making sure that you, the average nut job living in a remote rural area, don't spread the truth about aliens? We don't know. But I do know, one, they are government, not aliens. Two, they work with the aliens who work with the reptilian shapeshifters to control the masses, and they work out of Area 51. They wear black suits. They can the mind pen thing comes from people they remember mostly the black suit and tie. They can't give a good description of the face, and the conversations that they have are like hazy. So, a lot of that plays into that movie, and they visit you if you've seen something extreme or paranormal or UFO related. And I'm not talking about this podcast. If you like this podcast, you are safe. Don't worry. Or maybe, if the MIB come visit you, that's even better. It's more reason to listen to the show, right? That'd be cool.
Exactly.
So anyways, I'm going to go with MK Ultra because I think it's true. I think they're both true, but
like I said, all these are pretty much true, but
they're all true.
This is my mind.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking about the difference between truth and supposed truth, your next matchup is going to be Bigfoot versus the Martin Luther King assassination.
Absolutely. We'll start with Bigfoot. I come from Bigfoot country. I'm out here in California. Bigfoot is here in prominently Yosemite, Sequoia, and even as close as Bakersfield. So for sure, I love camping, and I've gone on solo camping and off the trail camping and off the trail hiking, and I've gone deep into the Yosemite Nature Preserve, and it is absolutely, if you were going to hide and never want to be found and you were Bigfoot, you would hide there. And I've been out there, and there are so many things that happen out there that are bizarre or unnerving, either noticeably or unnoticeably. Like sometimes you're just like, there is something, and it's not just that if you suck, you're following this map and you're like, I've been going towards this trail for a damn long time. I'm lost. I'm going to die out here. That's for sure. That's hella unnerving, right?
Yes,
but sometimes you're just on the right track on everything, and you start to feel, maybe it's just the aloneness, the vastness of it all, but you start to feel unnerved. You're like, what? There's something going on here, or there's something out here, or there's whatever, or there's magnetic stuff out there too. Like I've had my compass go crazy due to whatever, and it's like people don't believe you, but this stuff happens all the time. or you're out there, especially in the night, like you it is not just like, oh, a adorable rabbit named Snickers. It is something is the fuck out there, and it is like, this is like you know cognizant sounds being made out there, and you're all the way alone, and you're like, what is going on out here, right? And the answer is Bigfoot. He's big. He's 7 feet tall. He has big feet, and he's basically an ape, right? And an ape could live out there, right? But
Yep.
Bigfoot probably, or gorilla or whatever, but Bigfoot is there. There's all sorts of sightings of him. They've had some recent, as of recent years, they've had several good ones. They just had one just the other day, like a point blank Bigfoot sighting. They happen all the time. Sequoia, they have these sculptures. It's like a well-known thing. Lots of people attest to seeing it. And well, anyways, the forest is great. Bigfoot is great. I mean, there's not much to him. He's a mystical being. He's ape-like. He can disappear. He can run fast. He can sometimes leave prints. He can other times not leave prints. If you shoot him, he doesn't bleed. And if you upset him, he screams at you. But that's pretty much it. All in all, he's a pretty chill guy or creature, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's not usually hostile towards humans unless they start shit. But in some areas, he is territorial.
Yeah, but he never like picks up a rock and bashes you in the head.
Not that we hear about, at least.
Do we know about? Yeah, exactly. So maybe he does. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, so if you do see Bigfoot, run like hell. Okay, it's not something you want to get involved in. What's the other one? I love Bigfoot. I won't talk about him all day.
The Martin Luther King Jr. assassination.
Yes. Well, he was assassinated, right?
Well, the conspiracy surrounding the way he was assassinated and the reasoning.
The reasoning is this, and this is not, I don't know if I can even say this, but Martin Luther King was assassinated by basically the Illuminati, right? So I believe, I don't know, there's the Rothschilds, and who else? There's other people like the Rothschilds.
There's a lot of families that are in that. I forget the names, but
yeah, exactly. So he was brought to his prominent position because, he was a civil rights leader, allegedly. But he also had ties to the Rothschilds, right? And the Rothschilds, through his connections with the Rothschilds, he was kind of like elevated to the status that he was at. And, as long as he was doing what he was told, he was allowed to keep doing this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And then there was all the other stuff. Also, he loved Strange, which is awesome. Look it up. And
I've heard it.
America. I know you've heard of it, of course. But he also, from dealing with the Rothschilds, developed a disdain. And this is not to tarnish Martin Luther King's image. And by today's standards, it probably is, literally by what's going on now, probably extols Martin Luther King in a way. But he was tired of dealing with Jewish people, and he was known to be in his inner circle. And if you hang out, and I've known black people, I've done lots of jobs, crappy ones. And if you do hard work or work with the public or work in whatever food services, you will work with a black person. And if you are in the trenches with a black person, they'll open up to you. They'll tell you all sorts of great, traditionally blacks only conspiracies. And one of them is about Martin Luther King, and he did not like Jewish people. And he was going to kind of like start exposing the, deep hand that, for be it by coincidence or by design, that Jewish people played in America and globally. And because of that and his connection with famous Jewish family, the Rothschilds, he was assassinated. And then who assassinated him? An MK Ultra person. So it ties it all together. And that's not a joke. That's true. That is all true. Look it up. I mean, people have this is a conspiracy for sure, but I mean, it's
no, it's honestly outlandish enough to probably be true.
it's extremely outlandish, but he was a known anti-Semite, and whether that has nothing to do with it. This is whatever. I'm sure he had his own reasons, but because of that and his connection to the globalists and the Rothschilds and blah blah blah, they had to have him killed, because you can't have the biggest civil rights leader in the world unifying African Americans against Jewish people. I mean, that would be the conspiracy. I'm not saying that's my take on it. I'm not saying that's Jeremy's take on it. But that is what some people believe. And that's what I'm here to talk about, maybe like lesser known stuff, but anyways.
Exactly.
I was working at Starbucks and a black guy told me that. His name was David. He was cool. And I was like, I was sitting there writing it all down on receipt paper. Anyways, I swear to God, it's all true. So anyways, I'm gonna go with Martin Luther King, because he was killed. We know that.
Or was he? But
was it Lee Harvey Oswald or
supposedly?
No.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Yeah, well, he's Patsy, MK Ultra Patsy. So, anyways.
Well, to see who's going to face MLK in round 2, you have
my favorite
Area 51 versus Antarctica Secret Base. It's a battle of secret bases, basically.
Battle of secret bases. Is this the Nazi Antarctica base or?
It's unclear exactly what Antarctica Secret Base is, as it's a secret. But
well, they have two. They have several out there. One is the
kind of more.
One.
It's kind of more the idea that there's some secret base in Antarctica that is where basically almost like an Area 51 type place where a lot of secrets are kept, and that's why nobody's allowed on Antarctica without government permission.
Yes, that is okay. So it's the more modern one. I just wanted to make sure. Area 51, the precursor, the get into conspiracies precursor is Area 51. Now, this is if there's like a top Area 51. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about this. But just out of the bigness of Area 51, I will choose Area 51. But Area 51 is a real place. You cannot get near it. All sorts of crazy stuff happens around it. The people that have top secret access to Area 51 are not allowed to talk about it. There's been contracts alleged contracts released stating so, and stating all these crazy stipulations behind it. There's UFOs there. If you cross the do not cross sign, the government will come out, and they will come out in an unmarked truck, get it in their fatigues, and they will detain you. And they will not take you. They'll do it all right in the desert. They will not take you one step closer to Area 51. There was a Facebook group saying for people to sign up and do the Naruto ninja run towards Area 51, and several hundreds of people signed up, maybe even thousands, and the government specifically said, do not do this. We will use lethal force. So whatever is going on there, something fucking secret has to be going on there if they basically threaten to kill the nerdiest civilians America has to offer, mind you. They're like, do not come near this place. Area 51 is a secret base. Yeah, ultimately. Do they have a UFO there? Was the Roswell crash taken to transported across the United States to Area 51? Do they have ship in there and another schmaltzy Hollywood UFO movie created to distract you from the fact that Area 51 is 100% real, with famous Jewish actor MLK and Will Smith, famous crisis movie actor. Like, these films are there to be like, you think you think Men in Black is real? You think oh yeah, just like what's the name of that movie? Where they go to Area 51? Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, Independence Day.
There we go. I can't believe I forgot that. The cheesiest movie of all time. I know.
That's a childhood classic, man.
Absolutely, it's great. And it's as far as I know, it's the cheesiest mainstream movie ever made. You watch that movie and you're like, there's some groan-worthy moments in the best way possible, you know. And secret weapons, secret flight things, alien stuff, ghosts, teleportation, all of this stuff, people teleporting in and out in the desert and stuff like that. Rays that make you sick. The cancer gun is developed there. Everything that is pretty much diabolical in the world comes from Area 51, except for COVID. That came from a secret lab in Wuhan that was funded for gain of function testing by the U.S. government under the eyes of Dr. Fauci. But that's neither here nor there. Area 51 is a cool place. And if you ask me, we made a big mistake not making the COVID virus there. And it's one of the biggest conspiracies, if not the biggest one, in all of conspiracy land. Everyone loves Area 51, and Art Bell loved Area 51. And if you fly over it, they shoot you down. Yep. So just, we can't get a look at this place. So then there's the Antarctica base. And so in more recent years, there has been a development project across Antarctica that has... Who's here? Oh, never mind. I thought it was the Men in Black. They never come. No matter how many times I listen to hear come the Men in Black every single day, constantly almost. Will Smith, Men in Black. Here comes Men in Black. Great song. And it has been developed. This is a bigger one because this is not only a secret base, but it is also a mega structure, as far as I know. It is a massive sprawling underground base that now exists to house the elites for hundreds of years should there be some sort of cataclysmic disaster on the Earth's surface. And, there's not as much evidence for this base as there is Area 51, but it may have been like piggybacking on the Nazi base that they used to believe was there, because the Nazis did indeed travel to Antarctica for whatever reason. But you're right, you can't visit Antarctica. You are not allowed to go without government permissions, and they're not giving those out easy. And on top of that, there is just a Photoshop stuff out of satellite images, all sorts of weird shadows out there. There's definitely been alien crashes out there. There's evidence of an alien ship out there. They could have developed the technology right then and there to create this megastructure that exists under Antarctica. And this giant megastructure may be, in fact, what is speeding up the dissolution of the ice caps. We don't
possibly.
No, possibly, right? So other than that, I don't know. There's the usual stuff that's tied to these secret bases. There's UFO stuff. There's the rich history there. It's inhabitable, and we really don't know what's out there, like all things in our lives. So anyways, that one's a little bit newer to me. I think it's more like it's a more recent one as we started getting into these mega structures. type facilities. But anyways, for me, hands down, Area 51, way more evidence, way longer history. We know it is in fact an actual military base, called top secret military base called Area 51, and they were going to kill those Naruto guys, which rules.
Well, folks, that means that Mr.X here only has 2 matchups left on this side of round 1. I know. Only halfway through round 1. It's only been an hour. Mr.X likes to get into his conspiracies. Actually,
I'm sorry about that, folks.
Nah, it's all good. Though I just released one of these today that I did with Today We Laughed and Learned podcast. That was literally like 2 hours long. So it's all good.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna hit that too. But this bracket usually does. But your next matchup is kind of an interesting, weird matchup. But it's in between Freemasons and sea monsters / living dinosaurs.
Like the Loch Ness Monster, right? We're talking about the Loch Ness Monster, right?
One of many, but yes.
Or like the megalodon. Is that the giant shark things? Okay, so let's start with that one.
All right.
We do not know. The Earth is covered primarily in water, and we really have no idea what the hell is going on down there. Most of the new species, 99% of the new species that are discovered are from the deep sea. And it is unfathomably hard to explore. And, you go a few miles out and then there's a huge drop, and it starts getting into the unknown. Could there be giant mythological Leviathan-like sea creatures, giant squid, Nessie, Megalodon, or whatever the giant shark from that Jason Statham movie is?
Yeah,
absolutely. We know there's giant creatures out there. Just look to, I think the largest whale is the sperm whale. Which one?
I said giggity, but yeah.
Giggity indeed. Yeah, the sperm whale. Such a great name.
Really? Shout out. I don't know who thought of that, but
yeah, exactly. Shout out to the guy who called it the sperm whale. He's a coomer. He loves getting his coom on. That rules.
It might have been the same guy that called Uranus, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yes. He's like sperm anything. They're like, what would you call the sperm whale? Sperm fruit, sperm monkey, sperm tree, sperm root. They're like, all right, I think we get it, John. And he's like,
we're seeing a theme here.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom again. They're like, oh my God. Flush the toilet twice this time, It leaves that kind of like egg drip soup, like,
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, shout out to that guy. Shout out to anyone who's addicted to pornography. So basically, we know that extremely large.
We're also not just talking about the ocean, though. This also we're talking about the idea of
Amazon jungle.
Amazon and Macaulay Mbembe in Africa.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, mythological creatures. Yeah, giant creatures. Though that's under the sea. Maybe like some giant stuff hidden away in Africa. Yeah, like lizard creatures, like alligators and stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
Macaulay Mbembe, supposed to be a brontosaurus type creature that lives in, I want to say, Uganda.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I don't know much about that one. It's a dinosaur, basically, right?
It's one of many remnants of a time past that still is around.
Yeah, for sure. No offense. I'm not saying like whatever, but if that was for real in Africa, these guys would have killed it and eaten it for sure. These guys are,
I think they're respected enough not to fucking try, but
some African guy's gonna jump up there and you seen these guys? They're jacked. Anyways, I totally believe there's all sorts of stuff that even though we live in this world where we have Google Images and Waymo driving us around and we can do a podcast from coast to coast. There's still a lot of stuff out there that we don't know. Like the earth is actually flat. And we have yet to discover, and a lot of it could absolutely be extraordinary. And the fact that people want to be like this and that, it's absolutely not a conspiracy. There are all sorts of creatures out there that we don't know of yet, and we discover new ones all the time. Maybe not all the time, but frequently enough. It's either insects or under the sea primarily, but there could be a giant Matimbe Macumbi out there, absolutely. And I'm not gonna say no to that at all. Now,
but it's going against Freemasons, though. That's the other topic.
Now, Freemasons. We know Freemasons. We know Masonry is real, right? We know our country's steeped in Masonic history. We know that George Washington was a Freemason, and part of his will was to be buried in his Mason's apron. My effing cousin is a Mason, and he is or was a high-ranking individual in the Marine Corps. And shout out to him. He's oldest. You know, when you see like these drone attacks globally in the drone warfare era we're in, and you're like, this is despicable. This has taken all the fun out of war. This has made it so technologically less advanced countries are at the whim of some overweight person in the Navy dropping a bomb on their head. And you go, this is disgusting. This is so far away from what war should be. We should be ashamed of ourselves. My cousin helped usher in this era. He was responsible for a lot of the crazy drone warfare that we deal with now. And that's a true story. I swear to God. And you have to, and these people are like that. So anyways, Masonry is 100% real. And there's chapters all over, there's lodges all over, and there are a lot of successful people who happen to be Freemasons. Now, is this like the Masonry now with that, is this the Masonry that we also know and love that runs the world and governs what we do in our society? And these people come together, they congregate about what they can do to make our lives bad for satanic and supernatural powers, but also distracting enough for us not to rise up and stand against them, even though there'd be nothing we can do versus like mega structures and super weapons and Area 51 and all that stuff, right? But pretty much anyone who is in a position of power has ties to Masonry. And Masonry does have a long and steep history going all the way back to the biblical era, biblical times, right? And Atlantis and other stone-based societies. And of course it makes sense, you can build the buildings and all that stuff. It's whatever. And what's going on? What is it? In a minute, okay? Now get out of here. I'm just kidding. So anyways, basically what I'm saying is he said I'm doing my podcast. I told you I had kids, Jeremy. I told you. You didn't believe me. Admit
I
it. You
believe you
thought I
now.
was lying. Yeah.
I believe you now.
All right. Anyways, Herbert Walker Bush, if that's his name. I don't think that's his name actually. But all of these people. Hey, here's Grandma. Grandma, you're on. Look at you. You're on here. Do you know anything about conspiracies, Grandma? Well, let me tell you about the liberal media attacking poor JD Vance, and we're live on this. Get out of here. Everyone get out of here. I'm chasing you out of here. I'm chasing you out of here. Get out of here. All right, I'm get out of here. I'm gonna get you. Anyways, the bottom line is yeah, the Freemasons are real. Here are 3 things I like about the Freemasons. 1, no women. 2, the Black Bullion Illuminati arm of the Freemasons. It's just cool black guys. Jay-Z, Tupac, those are the ones that I know. Anyways, think about that. That sounds pretty cool. I'd like to go to their party. And 3, they alongside the globalists and the Rothschilds and the Bilderberg Group exist to control our lives and for the most part allow us to, watch gay porn on Pornhub through a discreet thing, and no one's gonna know. So yeah, are they good? Are they bad? There's some. Are they for Christian, the God of Abraham, or for Satan? We don't know. There's a lot of mystery around that. It could be argued either way. Are they for population control? Definitely. And are our lives governed by them one way or another? They're either a very wealthy, very important, or very prominent person. They'll have ties to Masonry. I'm going to go with Freemasons.
All right. That brings you down to the final matchup in this side of round 1. And to find out who's going to face Freemasons, you're going to have Spygate versus the Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber.
Mm-hmm. What's Spygate?
Spygate is the conspiracy.
Hold on. Go on.
Spygate is the conspiracy surrounding Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and the fact that they had a lot of people killed basically during the activities in the Middle East in the 2000s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Spygate. Okay. Of course. Then I am familiar with Spygate, yes. So, absolutely. We know that's the case, right? Because of that movie. What's that one movie where it's like a dramatization, but they have Hillary Clinton and she's like blowing people up. So here's the deal. The Middle East stuff is all a whole bunch of stuff because that goes into the supernatural and what we were actually doing there is whatever. But under Barack Obama, more bombs were dropped in the Middle East than under the previous 4 presidents combined. And that is not a conspiracy. When you go in any type of false flag attack led, and this is all a precursor from 9/11, right? So 9/11 got us into the Middle East, and then year over year, we were there for some reason. And the same goes for Pearl Harbor, right? We're in World War II. And it's either for money, for power, for allegiances, for land, for whatever, right? One way or another. But no matter where you are in that spectrum, there's going to be people that you trust with information that you later have killed. And that Barack Obama, he was much cleaner about things. He was much more professional about things than Hillary Clinton, right? Except for when he killed his black chef and the guy drowned and, the lake right behind his house that he let him borrow. Well, he was conveniently on a plane. But Hillary Clinton and the Hillary Clinton death list is one of these things where people are like, there are so many people. I mean, whether you believe it or not, the fact that so many people that were just, even it's like this, Jeremy. If not every single person, but if I died, someone you had met in college died, and then two people you worked with years ago died, and some guy who knew stuff, who worked with you closely on something that is top secret died. If just that amount of people died with suspicious circumstances around them, basically, if they thought you were involved in any way, they're crazy. Okay? That's
Exactly.
the thing. That's the thing with the Clinton death list. And so that translates over to Spygate for sure. I mean, these people are killing. Bill Clinton killed the wrong girl at Starbucks, okay? So just think about that. Yeah, so basically, yeah, every single person like that has had someone killed, especially in the Middle East. Well, who's going to go there? No one knows what goes on in the Middle East, okay? If I was in trouble with the cartel here in Los Angeles, you know where I would go to get the fuck away from them? I would go to Iran. What was the other one now?
Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber.
Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber. I've heard of this one. What do they have in it? I know it's hollow. I mean, it's definitely hollow in there for sure. But what do they have in it? Ark of the Covenant.
I mean, no one knows for sure. That's part of it, but I would say, I mean, you could ask Richie Rich's family; they might know. But
Richie Rich is. Remember on The Simpsons when Bart and Lisa go to that swap meet and they get a Richie Rich comic and a Casper the Friendly Ghost comic and they look very similar. And he's like, "Hey, doesn't this look like Ghost of Richie Rich?" And she's like, "Yeah, maybe his life of whatever led him to basically commit suicide." Anyways, it's a good scene. They did it better than I can explain it. So yeah, there probably is a chamber in Mount Rushmore that's hollowed out and just filled with Bill Clinton's old porn, I'm guessing. He's like, "Hey, these might come back in the style one day. We might need these one day." So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mount Rushmore being filled with Bill Clinton's old porn.
we'll go with it. We'll go with Big Billy C's porn, and
oh yeah,
that means the first half of round one is officially
Slick
over.
Willie.
Yes, it was. According to many, but now you get to start the other side of round one with a secret society matchup because you have QAnon versus Illuminati.
Well, QAnon, for all intents and purposes, is real, right? Like we know QAnon is they're on like a terror watch list, kind of, right? The QAnon stuff, and they have exposed some stuff and done hackings and doxed people and done like even weird like documentary-esque releases and we just don't know who Q is, right? But QAnon is like a coalition of people who are interested in bringing, there might be varying factions, obviously, because sometimes they're interested in defending the right, sometimes they're interested in defending the left. Primarily, right, they have like this political stuff, right? Like kind of like a political edge to them. But I think like they are real and they have like a Twitter and or X and stuff like that. So I mean, I really don't know what to say about QAnon. I do believe that they are real and not a conspiracy, actually, What's the conspiracy part?
Well, I mean, supposedly they're real, but are they really real? And what is their real agenda? That's the
Got it.
conspiracy part.
Yeah. Are they a CIA op type thing? Yeah. So they have been accused of that too. I forgot about that element. So QAnon might in fact be the CIA, and the CIA may be feeding small amounts of information and disinformation at the same time to this organization in the hopes of just fooling people, which may in fact be the case. I don't know. That's why it's a conspiracy theory. But they aren't as sinister. They're really more interested in kind of keeping Americans in line. The Illuminati is more unique, and they have infiltrated every single facet of our society on a global stage, right? And they're the
Mm-hmm.
people that are kind of like controlling us. They're the people who are pitting us against each other. They're the people who are saying, that global warming's real, or that if in fact it is, which it isn't.
We'll
And
get to that, but
and the Illuminati is a conglomerate of Masons and reptilians and the elite and Diddy style freak offs and the Clintons and the Obamas and the Bushes and everyone except for presidential hopeful Donald Herschel Walker Trump. I'm not sure that's his real name, but the thing is the Illuminati rules, like it's like a three-arm thing. So there is the Rothschild led banking, there's the military industrial complex, and there's the Bilderberg group. And what are you doing in here? You want to hear about the Bilderbergs? Close the door. Go to your mama. All right. Anyways, and from that, there's also the governmental bodies and stuff like that. So they're so vast. There's so many elements of it. Almost, and then the other thing is under this umbrella, every single conspiracy falls under the Illuminati, right? They
in a
either
way,
know about it, absolutely, in a way. They either know about it, are directly responsible for it, or are doing their best to co-opt and control it. And that goes all the way down from a small governmental level, like civil unrest, to the global stage, like setting off, wars in the Middle East or military industrial complex, religions, anything you can think of falls under Illuminati. And anyone could be in it, and anyone could be a part of it, anyone could be an actor in it. But we all know one thing, that the IRS is definitely in it.
I could dig it.
Yeah, keeping people poor, keeping people all of that stuff. Anything you can think of falls under Illuminati, and who's in it is either, we don't know. So, anywho, I'm gonna go QAnon. QAnon could be in it, but no matter how you do it side by side, QAnon looks freaking lame compared to the Illuminati. So we're going with the Illuminati.
Which
Well,
means
what? Oh,
that
sorry.
means the Illuminati is moving on to the next round, and they're going to face one of these two, which we talked about this first one a little while ago, kind of. And I said we were getting to it. It's going to be Matrix / simulation theory going against fake moon landing.
Yes. Good evidence for both. Okay. One, there's all sorts of stuff for, so like, one of the biggest things is, whether you believe that in God, or you believe in the Matrix, or you believe in whatever, there seems to be, the more we look into it, some evidence that what has happened on this planet is by design. It's completely unique from the placement of the moon and how it moves around the earth and the day and night cycle and the life here and all of that stuff. There seems to be some sort of construction or by design element to it, right? And we ourselves, we create our own world like things in simulations, in video games, in art, in anything. So I mean, to think that we can be a kind of piece to that ourselves is like the hubris of man, if you will. But basically, what the Matrix stuff is, and plus all of the things that are just inexplicable or glitchy or whatever, or just too wild to be true. We can kind of say that maybe in fact there is a, we may indeed be living in a simulation, and there's all sorts of like math behind it too. I hate science, but to get the science element on it too, there's all sorts of like, people that we consider to be quite intelligent that believe that there could be we might be living in fact in a simulation. Even stupid Elon Musk, the dumbest idiot in the world, thinks it might be true. So just think about it. If the smartest people in the world think it might be true, and also the stupidest people in the world might think it be true, well, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But there's so much we don't really understand, but we ourselves try to create worlds that are very similar to ours. So anyways, it could be true. And the Matrix, that movie has aged incredibly well. I watch it every couple of years. I'm like, man, this looks amazing. I'm like, this looks amazing. This is super cool. It's super fun. It's not really dated. It is amazing movie, and it's one of these films that kind of like got things rolling in people's minds, and kind of like a chicken or egg type thing for that. But boy, are you here again? Where are you? What's going on here? Daddy's taking too much of this guy's time as it is. Go on, go to mama. You go to mama. Go to mama, tickling you. What's the other one? I don't want you here, Daddy's fake moon landing. That's the other thing.
Yes.
Did you know since the moon landing happened, we have not gone back to the moon?
Oh, I am well aware.
There's other stuff. The flag is perfectly still. They say that there would, in fact, be some movement scientifically of on the flag and all that stuff and blah blah blah. How did they do this stuff? Who filmed the moon landing? Sure, they say they set up a tripod. Yeah, right. That's retarded. But that's not, there's all this old stuff associated with the moon landing, including whatchamacallit, the guy who directed The Shining did it, right? What was his name?
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, he did it, and he put all this stuff in The Shining, letting you know that he did it, and blah blah blah. That doesn't matter. He did do that, though, for sure. Stanley Kubrick made this film for this fake moon landing for us just to win a competition against the Ruskies. The biggest thing is they put a number of images from the moon landing through an AI algorithm that determines whether or not the image is real or fake. And to a high degree of certainty, the AI algorithm determined that those images shown in the moon landing were false, which is incredible, which is for me, I think that's a bigger proof than anything, So, anyways, like I said, all these conspiracy theories are real, but that's a good one. That's a really good one because these AI imaging algorithms can determine, like, they can look at a X-ray and determine to a greater degree of accuracy someone who has cancer cells from a little tiny pixel this big, right? Is just the smallest pixel possible. It can determine to a greater degree of success than people who have been specialists analyzing these photos for their entire lives. Why not for the moon landing, which absolutely was faked? So basically, I'm saying is, what was the matchup again?
Matrix versus fake moon landing.
Fake moon landing.
And after that one, folks, oh God, I can't wait to hear Mr. X's take on the second one in this matchup. But it's going to be global warming versus Pizzagate.
Oh, absolutely Pizzagate. Anyways, global warming is we don't know much about global warming. We know that maybe the earth is getting warmer. But what we thought was, hey, get out of here. What we thought was that all this cataclysm, remember Al Gore was like, there's gonna be a tornado in the middle of California. Just blowing Marilyn Monroe's skirt up. And they're like, that's thank you. They're like, oh my God, no. And they had all these movies like The Day After Tomorrow and all these stupid, and they still to now use this like fear mongering media stuff to push this global agenda on, this alleged phenomenon known as global warming. But it's in line with, accounts from a lot of this stuff's, in line with accounts from times when there should have been no global warming. And of course it has to do with the the polar shift. Some people theorize that we might be headed towards a world-ending polar shift, and there's been several historical tales of similar things that led up to these cataclysmic endings, and we might just be experiencing our own now. But here's what we know about, and of course, it might be the HARP machine, prominently brought back into the eye of conspiracy theorists with Hurricane Milton. And, the global warming stuff is basically a new science. And like any science, it takes decades and decades for you to come to any actual conclusions. But what about those movies where you see a hand over your shoulder and and you turn around and nothing's there? Anyways, basically, there's that. Global warming is, it's mediated a lot. Normally I don't trust the media on stuff. So anyways, it's a hot button topic. Maybe it is real. Maybe humans are causing it, but what are you going to do? Right.
Exactly.
Anyways, so then there is Pizzagate, which is a bunch of stuff that snowballed to a guy, I think, shooting a bullet into a pizza shop, right?
Yep.
But there's all this crazy stuff around it. Mainly a number of emails linked from a famed John Podesta who worked with Hillary Clinton, using this term over and over again to describe things known as cheese pizza. And cheese pizza has the same letters as another item. Give me that. Don't turn that on right now. You're gonna take over the screen. I want to know what's going on. The PlayStation 5. There's this thing where if you turn on the PS5, modern TVs switch over to it, like takes priority. It drives me nuts. That's a conspiracy. And Podesta, the famous leaked Podesta emails, has all of this coded language around pizzas or cheese pizzas. Now, a lot of people simply swept it under the rug by saying something so much crazier than the Pizzagate stuff. Do you remember what they said about him talking about cheese pizza so much? They said
Yeah.
he loved pizza, which is insane. It's such an insane thing to say. Like, this guy loved pizza. That's why it's all this stuff and talking codedly and saying he had. There's one that was like, I have a cheese pizza in my basement, and they're trying to get, there's a sale of cheese pizza and stuff for like $26,000 or something like that. All this crazy stuff. And that, of course, led to them determining. And there's other stuff. There's a pizza place that was mentioned, I think, maybe in this email link, but also the pizza place. Its symbol is the same symbol that people use as a codified man-boy love insignia for the pizza parlor. And all of these things came together for a, maybe slightly overzealous American hero who ended up shooting into the restaurant trying to go in there. Or I don't know if he actually breached the place or not, but it turns out that it was no longer there. But of course, why would it be after the Podesta emails linked and went out? And all of that's real, and the darknet's real, and these websites that you can go down this rabbit hole to purchase cheese pizza and all that stuff. All of that's been proven true, and it absolutely is a real thing. It's absolutely a real industry. It's absolutely something that is obviously we hear about all the time with politicians on both sides and people in the elite and people in the not so elite that just have stumbled down these things or searched for them, having this type of material on their computers and their search history and blah, blah, blah. And it's people that have to do with child protection services, and people have to do with the government, people have to do all this stuff. So yeah, who's the crazy person here? The person who thinks that these people are, and Jeffrey Epstein and all of this stuff. Come on.
I mean, this was also all decades before Epstein, before P. Diddy, before all this.
Absolutely.
None of this stuff was mainstream news back then.
And it's not even mainstream news now. They killed poor Jeffy Epstein, tool of the rich and the elite for all this stuff. But it's these people. Epstein Island. Well, no, that's not. I mean, yeah, out of the mainstream media, but Epstein Island and the Lolita Express. This is all stuff that was talked about, in the late '90s and early 2000s. Absolutely. And basically, what I'm trying to say is when it comes down to a conspiracy that's more concrete and just possibly true or whatever, Pizzagate, for sure. It's real. And a guy shot a bullet through a pizza window.
Which means to determine who's going to be facing Pizzagate in the second round, you have to choose between Hollow Earth and the NWO, and not the one with Hulk Hogan.
But he might be in the NWO. You ever think that?
Oh, God, no, he's not.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably not, I guess. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, no one respects him. No one respects him enough to have him in any group.
Yeah. What, you don't like Hollywood Hogan? What about regular mustard and ketchup Hulk Hogan?
I like Hulk Hogan funny, but as a wrestler, as a human being, he's a less than despicable person. But
that's for sure. Yeah, that's true. Pimping out your daughter is never a good look. Anyways, his son too, right? He killed his friend. or something like that, right? Remember that? That's pretty great.
and try
Crashes
and try to get with his daughter. But yeah,
and allegedly, yeah, he said questionable things about his daughter. Absolutely. Who was a questionable person about him? I mean, recording him saying the N word and blasting it out there is not, that's not a great sign of your parenting, right? Your
well, I
daughter
mean,
putting you on blast like that. I mean, she can bitch him out about that for sure. I mean, it's not
I
crazy.
mean, we're talking about a world where Vince McMahon straight up said that on a WWE camera, and they didn't even cut it.
Oh, really? I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's prominent in that type of fucking.
And he said it to John Cena too. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah, John Cena, famed liberal crisis actor John Cena. Anyways, um, what, the NWO and what?
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth. The Earth is hollow. That's where the reptilian shapeshifters live, or the mole people, or
A,
it's a
a,
spaceship.
lo- a lot of different conspiracies for that one.
Yeah, there's a lot
The
of
Hollow,
like what?
the
What's
Hollow Earth
what?
has.
What's a good one that you can think of?
Well, I mean, just the fact that if you look at a map of all the cave systems in the United States, and you look at the map of all the missing 411, they kind of overlap.
Interesting. That's a good one. Yeah, caving. That's something that's terrifying too. You will never catch me in a cave. That's all I can say. And Van, close the door. Just close the door. Just close the door. I'm on a call here. Anyways, and anyways, I shouldn't have that much fun with my family. Um, so basically the hollow earth theory is, there's more, like that's another one of the things that science tells us, stuff like that. But even scientists themselves have come out and they say that what they thought was in the core of the earth, and they aren't so certain about anymore, actually. And they definitely believe that there's also, masses as large and separated as large as continents, and there's like a earth type layout even underneath, towards the mantle and stuff like that. So I mean, whether or not we move back and forth between here and there, or the reptilian shapeshifters do, or the mole people, or aliens, or there's a big alien ship in the middle, or whatever, that remains to be discovered. But the hollow earth thing is interesting because there's all sorts of like giant holes. Especially there's this one, the famous Russian hellhole, right? Where
Yep.
it's like this almost bottomless pit, and from it, it might be just harmonics, it might just be wind, it might be just whatever, but it might also be a gateway to hell, which is pretty cool. But there's not too much to Hollow Earth. It's like it says, it's one of these ones that's summed up pretty well in the title. It's that the Earth is hollow, and there might be something in it. There might not be. Might just be a bunch of lava. Um, the NWO is, for the most part, for the most part, one, it's been a term used by people who are actually elite, actually prominent figures, time and time again. A new world structure, a new world order. George Bush Sr. famously said a new world order. And for all intents and purposes, if you look at things, at the turn of the century, pre the turn of the century, to now, to after the prominence of Masonry and the Illuminati, we are living in a new world order, and things are more orderly than ever, despite some unrest that might be shaped globally. And the unrest itself seems to be by design. And it's another one that is kind of synonymous or parallels the Illuminati, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the idea that the global elite have determined how our lives will be led, how the future will go, who's going to have access to the resource, a greater disparity between the ultra wealthy and the ultra poor, the elites being able to kind of like live in a decadent playground where the fixtures and the monkey bars and all that stuff are by the lamentations of man and woman alike. We've opened the door for, like whatever, whatever you want to do, you can do. You want to do drugs, you want to have intercourse, you want to enjoy cheese pizza like Hillary Clinton and John Podesta. We've sexualized children. We've moved away from the nuclear family. It's completely different than the way things were, 100, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And, whether or not the NWO is real, we are living in, for the most part, a new world order. And compared to like what they call the old world, or like the old country, or like previous generations ideas of what morality are and all those things. And that is because of this four-armed cabal known as the Illuminati, who are part of ushering in the New World Order. And the New World Order also can exist for some to kind of speed on one side, speed up the prophecies in Revelations, or especially with curbing the birth of the Antichrist with relaxed abortion and whatnot, curb the prophecies foretold in the book of Revelation. There's all sorts of biblical stuff related with the NWO. Is Satan here, is whatever. Satan's involved with a lot of this stuff too. And so, and as we all know, we don't know, and we don't, outside of the NWO, it's like one of these things that anything can fall under NWO stuff, except for one thing we know absolutely cannot be in it, and that's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
Well, which way you want to go? Which way you want to go? Hollow Earth or NWO?
Oh yeah, for sure. NWO. NWO and Illuminati are way up there. They got to be in there.
Which means your next matchup, as we're getting to the second half of this side of round one, is a hollow moon versus false history.
Yes, the hollow moon is the moon equivalent of the hollow earth. And as I mentioned in the Matrix thing, the moon is something that's very specific, and it's almost mathematically impossible how it lies within the earth and moves with the earth, right? And that's because one of the conspiracies is the hollow moon is a spaceship. And from that, it's a number of things.
A Death Star.
A Death Star, if you would. It is either one, an alien spaceship that seeded the way things are here at Earth and gave kind of like birth to the human race. Two, it is humans that traveled from the now nuclear war ravaged planet of Mars to inhabit Earth. These are some of the spaceship related ones. The other one is it's hollow and aliens are living on it with them being able to take shelter inside the moon, and them having a moon base located on the dark side of the moon. And the bottom line is, I can't remember, but there is something to the hollow moon. There's some sort of thing, I don't know. I can't quite remember what it is. I want to say it's like harmonics related or something like that. I don't know. We shot something out there harmonic wise, and the way it reverberates makes it seem like it may in fact be hollow. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but
We shot a missile at it and it vibrated.
yeah, exactly. Oh, a missile at it? No, that's not right. That'd be awesome.
It was a missile, yeah.
It was a missile. It wasn't like sound. It was a missile.
Yep, and it rang like a bell.
Yeah. That okay. So that's it. And that later gave birth to yeah, as I recall, that gave birth to a Mr. Show skit about how we have the technology to blow up the moon. I think that's what inspired that. Anyways, it's a good skit. Check it out. But yeah, so I mean, there is some evidence that it is in fact hollow, and then there is some evidence that it's like too convenient to just be this natural occurrence. So, anyways, there's lots of good stuff about it, and mole people live in it, or reptilian shapeshifters live in it, or the Illuminati live in it, or it's a elite
or
Illuminati
or just grays, but yeah,
or the grays, absolutely, or the greens. What's the other one?
False history.
False history. There is an episode of a podcast where we talked about the people that are the original controlling people, and I can't remember what they're called right now. But false history is that everything that we're basically taught about the past is been, I think, like not so much completely fabricated as in it's been like tailored,
edited.
Yes, edited, right? So a lot of the history is left out to kind of like not blow people's minds and make people be like there's no point to anything or whatever, and be it there's lots of ones to false history as well, from the Atlanteans to the moon, to many of the conspiracies we talked about to this day. It's a curated history like MLK and MK Ultra, or UFOs, or aliens, or Adam and Eve, or whatever. Pretty much anything that we have been allowed to know about history has to have been curated and controlled by, be it the Illuminati, the elite, the reptilian shapeshifters, Tim B, Katumbo, whomever, right? But these are both pretty much self-explanatory. Yeah, so we really don't know what the truth is, and we really don't know what history is and what our place in history is, or how we got here, or what they're holding from us. And I think that might, out of all of these, I think that might be the most digestible out of all of them. Why would they tell us, right? JFK assassination, whatever. False history for me.
All right, and that means false history in your last fully ready matchup for round one is going to be going against either COVID-19 / vaccinations or chemtrail poisoning.
COVID. Well, I mean, come on. What do you got to know? Chemtrails, they poison us from the sky. COVID-19, they injected us with nanomachines that can blow up our head at any given moment. Well, we know in terms of what the government and what the powers that be have let us know about COVID-19, it's far beyond anything chemtrail related. The chemtrails is, could be weather control. It could be the poisonings, right? That's what a lot of people do, think it's a means of population control.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of images, maybe real, maybe fake, showing these planes that have, their internal structuring made for this type of seeding that happens out in the sky. There's all sorts of video evidence, are they contrails, are they chemtrails? you always get that debate on that side. But the bottom line is, they do create unnatural patterns in the sky, whether or not there's something contained in that or whether it's not to reflect the sun's light to curb global warming or blah, blah, blah. But they would have been doing this for a long effing time, It depends on where you fall on things, but COVID-19 is completely different. That's a completely different beast. We know COVID-19. We know the vax is something that affects us on a DNA level by manipulating our mRNA, which is a part of the maybe interphase, prophase, metaphase, maybe the metaphase portion of DNA, I guess replication or whatever you want to call it. And we know that since the vax, heart attacks in young people have increased by almost 25%. So that means, for the most part, there's 1 in 4 people could be potential. I mean, you want to talk about freaking population control. And it was one of these things where it happened globally. People were more or less forced to take it. And, it's something that happened and did happen. And the government was involved. The military was involved. If you got vaxxed, you may have done it at one of these military places. And for sure, the vax is the conspiracy one I'm going with. In just terms of being diabolical and in the face of everyone's points alone.
Exactly. I mean, I agree. I 100% agree. But that means you get to go to your first play-in matchup of the night. This will determine which one of these two conspiracies gets into round 1 even. And you're going to start off with a doozy. It's going to be Jeffrey Epstein's death versus the JFK assassination. It's a play-in of death.
Wow. Well, both definitely happened. We know that, I mean, Jesus Christ. These are two things that we've also talked about on my podcast in the past, but obviously there's all sorts of very suspicious things surrounding both of them. And I'm just going to say that for sure, Jeffrey Epstein, he did not kill himself.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but well, and your other matchup to determine which one of these is going into round 1 is going to be between the Georgia Guidestones and 9/11.
9/11.
Ooh.
Let's not joke about that. 9/11, it was an inside job.
Oh, God.
The Georgia Guidestones are some lame ass stones. Who cares? But
people here by the extraterrestrials, but yeah.
It's well, I mean, I think they kind of found out who actually, there was some like rabbit hole that they kind of found out, or pretty good idea found out the person who financed them to be built. I mean, whether or not the aliens have to do that or not, but he was a pretty bad guy.
Or the Illuminati,
Illuminati for sure.
But that means you now only have 2 matchups left in round 1. And the first is going to be predictive programming versus Jeffrey Epstein death.
Wow. If you have seen an ad recently that makes you click on it, I never thought I'd ever click on an ad, right? But predictive programming just shown on a base level through like guided advertisements, it's real. But Jeffrey Epstein, we got to get people involved in Jeffrey Epstein again and know that this guy was killed, and get the Epstein list out there and get Trump to release the Epstein list. Okay, it's got to happen. Anything having to do with Jeffrey Epstein, we do Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, that means your final matchup in round 1 is government weather control devices versus 9/11.
The HARP. Look up the HARP. It's real. It's way more real than 9/11. There's all sorts of good stuff, right? Absolutely. 9/11 was an inside job. It's tragic. It's a horrible thing to say, and people definitely did die, but the truth is just right on our nose. But the HARP machine is something that will be. Look it up. Just look up the HARP machine. Okay, I can't explain it that well, but it is something that is gonna be affecting us forever and is affecting us now with Hurricane Milton. And just look up the HARP machine. It's real.
You should, listeners. It's an interesting dive. That's for sure.
Absolutely. We can't. There's not enough time in the world to talk about these two things, you know.
But which way you want to go?
HARP or government weather control, I guess, but it's HARP.
All right.
HARP.
And that means that you are officially done with round one. And that means you can start round two as you narrowed it down to.
I know how this goes. Here we go.
And we're going to start back at the beginning because you made this. It's Denver Airport versus Skinwalker Ranch.
Denver Airport, swastika.
Jesus Christ. Well, to face that in the quarterfinals, it's either going to be Reptilians or MK Ultra.
Reptilians. They're more relevant to everything.
I'm seeing a pattern here, folks. But let's see if that pattern continues, because you have MLK assassination versus Area 51.
Area 51.
Ooh.
It has to be. It's the biggest. It's one of the biggest ones of the old school ones.
And now your last matchup on this left side of the round two is Freemasons versus the Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber.
Freemasons. Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber sucks, man.
I know. I've actually considered replacing that in this one, but
I love it. No, I like it being on there, personally.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of strong ones, so I need like a weak one or two. But
I love
that. That means on the other side of round two, you got the Illuminati versus the fake moon landing.
Illuminati.
Behold.
Absolutely.
But that means the Illuminati is going to be facing in the quarterfinals either Pizzagate or the NWO.
Ooh. Do I choose now or?
Oh yeah.
Then NWO.
Yeah. Ooh. Interesting it will be. But only two matchups left in round two. And the first one is between false history and COVID-19/vaccinations.
COVID-19. Facts. And get the truth out there.
The final matchup, the truth is out there. Fox Mulder once greatly said. But it's the final matchup in round two is going to be Jeffrey Epstein's death or government weather control devices.
That's a tough
one.
So
Hart versus Epstein.
Yeah, both are relevant right now. Epstein.
Which means, folks, that it's time to go into the quarterfinals. Getting closer and closer. It's down to 8 now. And it's going to start off with Denver Airport versus Reptilians. Two things that could be related, actually.
Reptilians. Oh, wait. Denver Airport.
And Denver Airport's going to be facing Area 51 or Freemasons for you?
Freemasons.
And that brings us to the other side of the quarterfinals, where you have Illuminati versus NWO.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that matchup already. It gets
faster and faster as you get to the other side. But
I know. I love this. This is the lightning rounds. I like Illuminati.
Well, yeah, I can't blame you. But that means your final matchup in the quarterfinals is between COVID-19/vaccinations or Jeffrey Epstein death.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Vaxes.
And that means, folks, we have the final four. Now to determine which one becomes the top two. And you're going to start off with Denver Airport versus Freemasons.
Denver Airport.
And the Freemasons finally get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
And
they probably helped build the Denver Airport, but yeah.
Probably. But on the other side, you have Illuminati versus COVID-19.
Illuminati.
And that means in your final matchup, actually, these two could be related, so this is funny. But in your final matchup for the finals, it's Denver Airport versus Illuminati.
Great matchup. The thing is this, it's the Illuminati. If you can get people on board, if we can just do one thing and get one person on board with the Illuminati tonight, guess what? That opens the floodgates for everything else. Once you understand the Illuminati, then everything starts to make sense, and that's everything on this list. And you realize that basically, Pizzagate is real.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, folks, that means that the Illuminati have won a conspiracy bracket, maybe for the first time. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Wow, really? What was the last
I've done this. Dude, I've done these so many times, I honestly can't remember who won every single one. I know. Well, actually, I'm not going to tell you, because if people want to hear the last winner, that episode just dropped in podcast form today, so you can go listen to it.
Listen to it. Absolutely.
I honestly don't remember who Chris picked for that one. She had an interesting time debating them down to a final winner, but I forget who she picked, but you can go listen to it.
Just watch the episode. Absolutely. Watch the episode. Watch all the episodes. Go to the catalog. Always
the catalog. Jeremy. The catalog on YouTube is long, but please go to it. Mr.X, it's always a pleasure having you on these, buddy. Where can people find you and your podcast?
You can just look at our Twitter page. That's at MackyRatHouse. We talk about conspiracies. Sometimes we invent our conspiracies, based in my own observations, and we are a comedy podcast, so there's some comedy in the midst of all the serious awfulness of these conspiracies, most of them. But the thing is this: we talk about pop culture, our personal lives, and the news, and anything. And it's like a kind of like stream of consciousness style podcast. I'm sure there's a million of those out, but it's comedy based. My background's in comedy. I did comedy and I did comedy writing and tried to be a filmmaker. But now I'm nothing. Now I'm a small former shadow of myself and this and that. But the bottom line is you can follow us at MackyRatHouse. It links to our Spotify. You can search the Macky Rat Podcast. It's available on most mainstream streaming services. Podcast.
Yes. Yeah, go check them out. They're a good time always. And an episode just dropped of them on my show about a month ago or so, with them talking about horror movies. So if you want to check out something for the spooky season, go listen to Mr.X and Caleb debate what's the best horror movie of all time. But until next time, folks, you all know where to find me. If you don't, it's because the Illuminati grabbed me. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.